Recorded live at Carolla One Studios with Adam Carolla and board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist, Dr. Drew Pinsky. You're listening to The Adam and Dr. Drew Show.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the church. We're going to get on. Dr. Drew's fortified 8 essential vitamins fortified with iron. Iron. It's got iron.
12 ways.
Yeah,
9 ways.
It's been fortified with iron. It's all fortified.
Oh, my God.
It's all a lie. Everything was a lie.
Well, not just a lie. It's something you pointed out long ago. It was all a product of Madison Avenue.
Yeah.
And when you really start to see the way they were able to manipulate and push and create realities that didn't exist, it's just everywhere.
I know, but they got the government involved.
Yes.
And number one, and then what it did is it gave way to people on the other side creating their own lies and exaggerations to sort of counter it.
Yes.
So that's where you got pot. Pot's good for you. What do you mean, reefer madness? It's good. Pot is good. And, eat the box. The Lucky Charms came in and it'd be healthier to eat the box it came in. And so you got this extreme other side of it. Yeah. You know what I'm wondering, Drew? Here's a thought for you. Dig. The left and folks that I grew up with went so hard extreme the other way. Sort of like microwaves would give you cancer and color TV would give you cancer and pillows were bad for your posture and like everything. They were wrong about everything, but that's what they were at, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if those people now hear somebody talking about ivermectin or something and go, oh, they're just lying about that stuff to get their, like, oh, you mean like you guys lied the whole time? Like you lie about climate. You do nothing but lie about climate change. That's all you do is lie. So then somebody comes out and they start talking about masks aren't effective or ivermectin or whatever the latest, January 6th, whatever that thing is. And I go, that's just fake news. They're just creating that thing. Oh, you mean like what you guys are doing? Because that is what you're doing.
It is interesting how one side jumps to lying rather than distorting or misrepresenting or getting it wrong. No, they're lying.
Right.
Always lying. And that, to me, is a weird place to be. Your first assumption is lying?
I will tell you, the liars do all the accusing of lying.
Yeah.
They always accuse others of lying. Yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah.
It's always funny, too. It's like when this latest scandal in the BBC was out cooking tapes of Trump, and then when they interview the executive, they're like, no, we're not biased.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, right?
I don't know.
They believe it. That's the thing. They believe they're not. It's weird you would bring this up because I was wondering, God, what is it like to be in the newsroom with Barry Weiss in charge at CBS now? Is she pointing out the bias to them? Are they copping to it? And how does that go down? You know what I mean? It's fascinating to me.
I'll tell you what's going on. You want to know what's going on?
At CBS or just generally?
In general with the bias.
Okay. All right.
We've all I'll circle back to chick think. Now.
All roads lead to chick think.
We all have observed and or know and maybe have seen, and maybe in our own lives, I don't know. But you have the parent and it's the mom. And the mom clearly favors one kid over the other kid. Maybe the mom favors the boy over the girl or whatever. And, the girl shows up and she's 5 minutes late for dinner and the mom's all up in her, right? Screaming at her, you know how hard I work, now the food's cold and blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, the boy shows up 15 minutes later and it's like, I made your favorite. Yeah. It's meatloaf and peas and mashed potatoes, right? And then you observe it, right?
Yeah.
And you go, clearly she seems to be treating the boy differently than the girl. So the girl's always on her last nerve. she's always the guy gives so much slack and leeway to. Right. Okay, fine.
Mm.
Pull that woman aside and interview her. What do you think she says?
Oh, she's just equally.
She loves them both.
Yeah, she loves her kids equally, treats them equally. What are you talking about?
There's no room for that. And then she would go. You know what she would say?
Mm.
She would go, sure, sometimes I'm a little tough on the girl because I see a lot of her, young me and her, and I don't want her to get into trouble. I do that.
That's right.
But it does not affect the way I treat them.
Right.
It does not affect it. It's like,
Right.
sure, we all hate Trump, but that doesn't stop us from doing our jobs with dignity. And it's like, bitch, yes, it does, because you can't help it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you interviewed that mom, she'd say the exact same thing. It's like, look, sure, sometimes she gets on my nerves, the young girl, but you know what? I treat them equally. It's case by case, and I would never let that interfere in my parenting.
And I
don't think she thinks she's lying.
Oh no,
she can't control. She can't control herself.
No, she
and
would
that's
feel
what's
terrible.
going on in the
if you
news.
play the tape, she'd be in denial about it. She's like, ugh.
Well, you play her the tape of you guys cooking up Trump's speech on J6, or I'll share the tape of you yelling at your daughter for being late for dinner and not saying anything, son. And you'd say, look, I agree that was not right, but I do not treat them any differently. Then you'd go right back to it.
Yes, that's the weird thing.
They're not horrified by it. They acknowledge it, and even they go, I need to step down from my job or whatever. But don't you for 1 minute think that's what takes place in this house.
No, it's called a doubling down phenomenon. That's what people do. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, she just
cognitive bias, man.
The head of the BBC News woman just basically explained that the tape was not correct, but do not think there's any bias. And I'm like, well, why did you guys cook a tape then if there's no bias?
Right, and men are quite capable of this too. It's not exclusively.
No, I think women can compartmentalize it. Here's what I think. Back to the parent metaphor. I would say if you talk to most dads in that same situation, they'd go, maybe I'm a little tougher on the boy.
Yeah.
Because he's got to get out in that world, and it's tough out there.
Right.
And yes, I maybe I raised my voice a little bit too much to him, and you know, I love him. But okay, maybe I'm a little bit tougher on him because I just want him to have the ethic, the work ethic. You got to be a little tough out there. Yeah, like they would do it. They'd go, I love my kids, I love them equally, but yes, maybe you're right. This happened.
Yeah.
Women would go, it never happened, and if it did happen, it's not because of anything.
Well, you're getting something really interesting here, and
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think that that has been my experience, that women do compartmentalize more. It makes me wonder if it's a way of sort of forgetting the pain of childbearing or child delivery and that kind of thing. Like their brain does that as a way of surviving to make sure they can reproduce again. Otherwise, if they really remembered what happened during childbirth, they would never do it again. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that's the innate part of it, right? Or if there's something, I don't have a good answer for this one, but women they're the keepers of gossip and culture. And I'm guessing if they really appreciated how some of the gossip hurt other people, that would be a little bit tough. So they have to compartmentalize that too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the compartmentalization is a thing. Men do it. Don't get me wrong. I've seen men do it too, but I've certainly been my experience that women really do it, and they're not aware of it at all.
No, I think, and then you get to a sort of corporate level, corporate news, BBC, you bring it into the political world and stuff like that, and they just don't have any thoughts about it. And it's interesting. And that's why you see this over and over again where they go, yes, we did this heinous hatchet job on this editing, but no, there is no bias.
Now, have you heard of that book, The Fourth Turning?
No.
It's called The Fifth Turning, Fourth Turning. It is essentially a book about how every 80 years a generation comes around that kind of resets things.
Yeah.
And he thinks ultimately it's a good thing, but when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel very great. And I kind of feel like we're in the middle of all of that. Have we talked about New York City and Mamdani and all that stuff?
Not really.
That's going to be an interesting series of events, and you would like that he appointed only females to his transition team.
Oh, I was yelling about that when he did his speech. He had 5 women standing behind him, 0 men, and then when he rattled off who's going to be city controller and who's going to be set deputy mayor or who's going to be in charge of his cabinet, whatever, it's this woman, which he thinks, first off, it's not a coincidence in a world where women are outnumbered by men that you would get 5 women in your cabinet and then stop talking. By the way, he named 5 women and then stopped. That was it. So it's intentional. Yeah. And he looks at it as progressive. Yes. And he looks at it as a step toward the light, and he looks at it how you would have looked at it in 2000, which is this is progress.
I would have. Absolutely.
And you get the woman of color and you get the Asian woman, and it's all there, and then it's a shit show. But this is how they do it. This is how the professional leg crossing class does it. They surround themselves with women. It's smart because it gives you a certain amount of protection. Because if it's a woman or a woman of color, the press and whomever doesn't go after them with the same ferocity that they would a white heterosexual male.
Same ferocity, not at all, right?
Well, pretty much not at all, except for we're now getting used to it to the point where Karen Bass is a woman of color and she's a shitty mayor, and you can say shitty things about her because it's been long enough. There's enough. You couldn't really do it with Lori Lightfoot of Chicago back in the day because it was kind of a novelty, Now, once women of major blue cities, once the mayors outnumber the men, which they probably do now they're sort of fair game-ish, but you have to take it easy on them in his cabinet. So, yes.
Well, you should be happy. They won't get as much done, maybe. Maybe all these policy ideas will never get executed.
Well, there could be a lot of satiation talk.
Yeah.
Andrew wrote me a note on my screen that says Google AI overview has a different interpretation of gyno-fascism.
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sort of curious about it.
Yeah, me too. It's a term that's only recently started getting used, and it's used sort of tongue-in-cheek, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not really using it that tongue
no, I know,
in
but
cheek
people
because I think it's hurting society. Gynofascism is not a standard term, but likely refers to a combination of misogyny and fascist ideology, or the opposition to gender equality within far-right and authoritarian movements. Huh? Does that make sense to you?
No.
So it's saying it's not a standard term, but it refers to a combination of misogyny and fascist ideology. Or the opposition to gender equality with far right. It's always far right. Can never just be right, can it?
Yeah.
Far right and authoritarian movements. It can also describe historical fascist policies that confined women to domestic and reproductive roles. I like that you're confined to domestic roles. I wish someone would confine me to a domestic role so I wouldn't have to fucking get on a flight every weekend. Or contemporary efforts to resist the rights of women and gender minority. What does that say, minorities? Gender minorities under a right-wing populist framework. Huh.
Yeah. Well, that's nothing like what people are using it at
No,
all.
but that's why you got to have Google, everyone, so you can get to the
Yeah.
truth about
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
So Megan Dawn was the first time I heard it used, I think, and they were trying to analyze, what the consequence were and the motivations are of some of these things we're seeing, and what's motivating women in certain situations. And then I saw the ultimate sort of interpretation of this through the eyes of an evolutionary biologist who was saying this is all a reproductive strategy to get at high value men and discourage the rest of the population from competing for those same men.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Right back with Dr. Drew right after this.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, the sun does tends to get dark these days earlier, and feels like midnight some parts of the country at 4:30 in the afternoon. And this can mess with you. Seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. Recently, I actually checked up with an old buddy, and we laughed, swapped a couple of stories, and started thinking, why didn't we do this sooner? Help me with my seasonal affective symptoms. Of course, checking in, connecting. And people say the same thing about therapy. Why did they start it earlier? It can feel like there's a huge threshold to starting. It feels a little weird. Is there something wrong with me? Are they going to see something scary in me? Of course not. They're there to help. And it's easy now. BetterHelp makes it easy. You fill out a short questionnaire. They match you with a licensed therapist. And they match the right people the first time, most of the time. And if that is not a fit, you can switch anytime. No awkward breakups or anything of that sort. And no waiting rooms, no awkward greetings of people you don't know. Over 30,000 therapists, 5 million people helped, 4.9 out of 5 rating. This is not a fluke, everybody. It's time to use these sorts of services. So to stay connected to your people and to yourself, consider BetterHelp.
This month, don't wait to reach out. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/AdamandDrew. That's betterhelp.com/AdamandDrew.
All right. Drew's over there, Palm Springs, California.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything under the sun. What else you got, Drew?
I let me think for a second here, because there's just so much stuff going on. I guess what I was thinking about a minute ago was this, and that gynofascism quote or definition sort of made me think about this, which is this idea of authoritarianism and populism and charismatic leaders. I mean, that's how I would describe Mamdani, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would describe him as that.
Yeah.
And they would describe Trump as that. And I don't know what we're into now. I don't know, and I'm kind of scared by the phenomenon of charismatic leaders.
Well, let's see if we can break down charismatic leader for a second, Drew.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump is inherently charismatic. Now, you can say, well, what is the definition of charismatic? And I lost you from my screen because we got something took over my screen.
I'm still here, though. I'm here.
I know. All right. So what's charismatic?
Yeah.
Charismatic is a combination and a sort of balance of a kind of a physical and a sort of mental and verbal.
Yes.
And it's sort of
verbal.
Presentation.
Yes.
It's kind of unspoken. It's a je ne sais quoi.
Well, people try to define it, right? There's
there's no real defining it. It's like when you're nice looking and your delivery is nice and you have a sort of nice affect, you usually become sort of charismatic.
Yeah, but and then I think a lot of it is 10,000 hours. It's enough time in front of people that you sort of you develop a skill with it, and then to me, this is the part that's scary.
Go ahead.
Just telling people whatever they want.
Well,
just somewhere they want to hear. That's where it gets weird.
Yeah, but see, this is. I mean, but here's the point.
Yeah.
It's not really 10,000 hours because it's a sort of that guy's got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more it than it is.
Okay.
I've been working at this for a long time.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a kind of a, it's it. It's what they call it. And Trump doesn't manifest that, and not traditionally.
No.
First things first.
Though I hear people say in person he manifests that. Like,
Well,
same thing with
that's
Clinton, I hear a
that's
lot of.
kind of how you know him now.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's
you
hard.
Know him. You know him
Yes.
closer than I do. You spent the Celebrity Apprentice with
It's
him.
hard. Okay, let's break it down. It's hard to have it. It's harder to have it if you're heavy or heavier.
Okay.
Some of it is a physicality.
All right.
Like Obama, a fat Obama wouldn't really fly. It would be fine, but it wouldn't be what it is. It's a physicality.
Yeah.
And I'll say the same thing about Newsom, and I'll say the same thing about Mamdani. A sort of balding, heavier set, jowly version of them is not going to work.
Same way, that's for sure.
So there is an aesthetic. So when you go,
attractiveness.
Mamdani has charisma, but Trump doesn't really have charisma, not as we know it.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a movie star. No one's ever going to cast him in any role without knowing he's Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not a physical thing.
And his speaking style is very odd too.
No, I'm saying it's not. He isn't. I'm going to argue, and maybe this is just sort of self-indulgent or gratifying or whatever, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm blowing sunshine up my own ass here. But I would
sunshine now.
I would argue that Kamala Harris is much more charismatic than Donald Trump.
Okay.
But
Traditionally,
her messaging is horrible.
Yeah.
So now, you look, George Clooney is very charismatic, but if he just got up to the microphone and went blah, 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 pfft, blah, he would lose that status.
Yes.
Right? Now, Obama doesn't say anything. I mean, he really doesn't. He just doesn't say anything, but he's charismatic. And if you're charismatic and your cadence and your tone and cadence, and then aesthetic is right, then we can get by. We can get by with that. Kamala Harris, visually, tonally, and sort of just all in the way she sits, the way she walks, the way she moves her hands, her gestures, and stuff like that, I would argue has more charisma than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump has tons of messaging.
Yes.
Right? And so Jordan Peterson has no charisma, but it's all messaging.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Ben Shapiro doesn't have a lot of charisma. He has a lot of messaging.
Content. Yeah.
A lot of content.
Yeah.
And so what's going on is Gavin Newsom doesn't say anything, but he has a lot of charisma. Jordan Peterson doesn't have a lot of charisma, but says everything. Yeah. Now, we have to vote. Yeah. What we're doing now is when they do the experiment, Drew, and I've said it a million times, they do the experiment with the 6-year-olds, right? Yeah. Show them a picture of George Clooney in a pilot's outfit, and then show them a fat guy in a pilot's outfit, and go, who do you want flying the plane?
Yeah.
And they go, I want that guy, George Clooney, flying the plane. And then you go, what if I told you had a little less experience than the fat guy? They'd go, I don't know. I still like that guy. At some point you go, what if I told you I had no fucking experience and he's drunk right now? And they'd still go, I'll take that guy. That's what the women under the age of 30, that's why they voted in the low 80s for Mamdani in New York.
Yeah.
His message is horrible. But they're literally like watching TV with the sound down, going, I like that guy. And that's what we're dealing with.
It wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. They bought it. They bought it. I'll give you a bunch of shit for free.
Yes, you're right. They bought it, but they wouldn't buy it from a middle-aged, balding, fat guy. Is what I'm saying. That's but you're right. They did.
They were disposed to embracing something that they knew they must have known on some level, at least the majority of them must have known this is never going to work.
Yes. So now Trump is not charismatic, but he is in the sense that he pushes the agenda and he blows sunshine and he makes people feel sort of proud to be an American and stuff. And I'm not saying there's not some smoke and hokum to what he's doing, but I'm saying charismatic he is not. Like he's a million other things, and maybe we need to change our definition of charismatic. But if you're casting a politician in a movie and this guy and the script says a super charismatic guy, you do not cast Trump.
No, you wouldn't put somebody who looks like him, or acts like him even, or talks like him. But that's kind of, I mean, I read my history. One of the scariest histories ever, if you read about the details of Lenin's ascension to power, just a hateful shitwad who believed his view of the world was the only way to go. And he was a charismatic leader, and people get persuaded by charisma, or they fall into the sort of hypnotic spell of people, and bad shit happens when we do that. And again, I'm certain people argue that, oh, that's what's happening with Trump. To Adam's point, I'm not sure it's the same thing. I mean, it may be a populist sort of reaction where people are angry about stuff and this guy's going to fix things for me. And we're almost like, I think the Trump voter is closer to Randy on South Park, who's like, hey, he looks like me, man. He sounds like me. He talks like me. He's going to do something for me. I'm being shit on all the time. He's going to help me. As opposed to Mamdani, who looks like, hey, we're going to save the world, man. Together, we're going to do this. Power to the people, humanity.
Right.
That's a wild difference, in my humble opinion.
Right. And if you really break it down, Trump is saying, I want to lower taxes and
pragmatic, right?
You can let me finish what I'm saying, Drew,
without
yelling in the middle of it.
I'd like to yell.
He says, I'd like to lower taxes. I'd like to lower regulation. So what is he saying? I would like you freed up to go do stuff.
Yes.
I want you to be freed up so you can go do stuff. He doesn't say the government's going to do it for you.
Right.
So the other side says the government's going to do it for you and then never arrives. It never shows up. Free housing, low housing, free buses, free supermarkets. Right. Okay. It's never going to work. Yeah. You want to lower my taxes and get rid of some regulation, make it smaller, make it easier for small businesses to get started. I'm all about that because that's possible. The other thing you guys say is great, but it's impossible. So it's basically like somebody saying, look, here's what I can do for you, Drew. Yeah. I can give you a loan. I can give it to you at a low rate, a low interest rate, and I can do it without a big down payment, and I can do it without taking the deed to your house.
Yeah.
And you go, good. The other guy goes, I have a Pegasus that'll sprinkle $1 million over your house. And you go, well, I like that better. I like that better because that's better than a 2.7 APR rate, And you go, yeah, I know, but that's not, I have to explain to the person at the bank that's not happening.
Yeah.
The other one can be done. Yeah. But you are going to have to pay back the loan. But he can give you a lower rate. Yeah. And you can get started with less collateral. The other one's not going to happen.
Yep.
But there's too many dumbos who want to go home and stare up at the sky and wait for the Pegasus.
Well, and it's that whole, we understand we can rethink everything. We can rethink policing. We can rethink mortgages. Okay.
All right. I'm going to be at the Upstairs in Los Angeles. That'll be tomorrow night doing stand-up. And then I'm going to be on the 21st. I guess that's November. Woodlands, Texas. Do-si-do at the Big Barn, and then Corona, California. That's on the 26th. And see, the camera blocks out the date, so I never know what it is. But I usually figure it out. Dos Lagos Amphitheater. Jay Moore's going to be performing there. Well, you go to adamcarolla.com, find all the live dates. What do you got, Drew?
Likewise, go to drdrew.com. Everything's there.
Yeah. December. Well, the problem with November and December is they have the same 5 last letters.
Push and pull.
No, I can't see the front of the thing. November 21st, that's at the Do-Si-Do Big Barn. And then December 6th, that'll be Corona. So, till next time, Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying, Mahala.